The Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame recognizes Ohio's distinguished men and women who have worn the uniform of our nation's armed forces and then continue to contribute to their communities, state, and nation through exceptional acts of volunteerism, advocacy, professional distinction, public service, and philanthropy. The Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame. Nominate a veteran today.
Edward Philip Horvath Jr., Navy, Army, Iraq War. So I grew up in Paynesville, Fairport Harbor initially. We moved to Paynesville and went to St. Mary's School there and graduated from Harvey High School. And then I went on to Western Reserve University in Cleveland when it was Western Reserve and not Case Western Reserve on a full academic scholarship. I completed 1.5 years there in the pre-med program, and I was called into the dean's office, which made me really nervous initially because I didn't know what he was going to ask me about. And he said, "I understand you'd like to be a physician." "Yes, sir." "Well, let's apply now." I said, "Sir, I'm 1.5 years out of high school." And he said, "I know a physician when I see one. Apply to Ohio State, you will get in." I did apply, and I did get in. I was 19. So I finished medical school at Ohio State. I did my internship at University of Wisconsin, met my wife there, married there, finished residency training, fellowship, and had been in as a Navy Reserve officer since medical school. So finally I got the letter, greetings, and I was off to the Navy for 2 years. Finished that, started to raise a family, moved back to Wisconsin where I'd done my training, had 3 kids, and then moved back to Cleveland. I became a medical director of Standard Oil and then VP America. And they left town, so I went to the Cleveland Clinic, and eventually I was General Electric's medical director. I never thought about the military after I left the Navy, but then 9/11 happened. And a year or so after that, my boys were now of age and asked me what they should do. And I said, well, we're at war again. We never seem to run out of people to fight. Your grandfathers were in World War II. I served in the Navy. I didn't go to war, but I served honorably nonetheless, and it's your turn. And so they both went into the Navy. About a week later in my office, I thought, I missed my war. I didn't wind up in Vietnam, and I felt badly about that for some strange reason. I thought I should have been there. So I went to the Navy. They weren't interested. I went to the Army, and they said, come on in. And so I was sworn into the Army at age 57. And then before I could save Baghdad, I was in Iraq for the first of 3 deployments 2 days before Christmas 2005, and then it went from there. Interestingly enough, by the time I was in my 3rd deployment, I was a full colonel, and I was responsible for the medical care of the northern half of Iraq, from Baghdad north to Turkey and to the Iranian border and the Syrian border. And at the end, I was making what were really more military decisions than medical decisions. Well, the Army kicked me out on my birthday when I was 68. They told me I was too old, which I was amused by since I had my 64th and 65th birthdays in Iraq, and I wasn't too old then. And 3 years later, I was essentially the same person. So the next day, I put my uniform on for the last time. I looked in the mirror. I took it off, put it in the closet next to my father's World War II uniform, and I cried. It was a big loss for me, because you become what you do, don't you? And I became a physician over the years. I became a soldier. And that identity died that day, and just last year, my identity as a physician died as well. It's really sort of an exclamation point in my career. Do I need that recognition? No. Is it great? Yes, it is. It tells me something that I already knew, but it reinforces it. I did what was expected of me. And that doesn't make me a hero, it doesn't make me extraordinary. It makes me someone who recognized his purpose in life and went to do it. And to have it recognized at the end of my career is a special honor. It really is. And I look at some of the people who are in the Veterans Hall of Fame, and I'm humbled to be in the same group that they are. It's a great honor, a great honor.
Selection and induction into the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame is a great honor. Nominate a veteran today.